kind of a wet
negative
blanket.
Nancy.
Yeah, negative Nancy, a wet blanket about it, but there is a very high regard that we give these Chiefs guys.
Yeah, but keep in mind, these guys did, have that victory in New Zealand, well, most of them at least, in New Zealand, only a couple of days ago. So who knows, even that extra experience that they've got playing on land with each other again, how far that can go in terms of comparing what they put up last week to what they're putting up this week. But look, we are obviously, Luke, now, given we're in our winners finals, we are going to a best of 5. So that changes things a bit as well. It becomes a bit more of an endurance race. You obviously have to win 3 at least rather than 2 to get through to the next round. And, this is something that I think the Chiefs, one of their experiences is playing in long tournaments. They've obviously been over to the US several times now, competing at these massive tournaments. And so, I by no means think that they're sort of the dynasty's over and that it's a foregone conclusion that they're on the way out. I think maybe last week could have just been a bit of an aberration. So let's see how they do go this week. But Justin, we are jumping in straight away, which we love, into Oddball on Live Fire. It's a map we have seen a couple of times so far tonight already. One that we really do love. And let's just keep an eye on where these teams who have a bit more experience choose to take their setups, in particular when squad wiping the opposite team. We did see with the Digital Nations guys a few times after those squad wipes, they were trying to hold it around that B silo area. It didn't work out for them. Let's see what these teams can do in terms of getting these setups and how long they can hold them for as well.
Something I'm going to be looking for, Hoots, is being consistent. Usually we're pretty forgiving and it's like, it's the first map, they're still warming up and all that kind of stuff. But we're pretty far into the bracket now. We're in the winners finals. But another thing is that they just played a LAN on the weekend. They played a tournament on the that week as well. There is plenty of experience. No excuses for either of these top teams. If they're not playing perfect Halo, then how can they expect to take the big money away in DreamHack Melbourne? So looking for no mistakes from both of these teams here. We are on board with Madsy. He does fall. The Caster's Curse comes in very, very strong, and we might hang on board with him through the respawn screen here. But no, we're on board with Slayz, who's been a star slayer for the Divine Mind roster, going through and scooping up that ball at Brutes pretty easily. Not really a lot of pressure coming his way, but I guess it's because it's 3 dead for the Chiefs at the moment. Now he's just hanging out in the tower, just getting some ball time there, Hoots.
I was going to say, John, there's not much pressure when you've got Plasma already putting up 6 kills to start the game. That's one of the reasons why he was able to pick that up so uncontested. So we spoke about it last series, right? It's that this Divine Mind team, they have other players that can step up when the real, the primary Slayers aren't doing what we typically expect them to do. Swayz, maybe not feeling it as much in the last couple of games as he was early on in the piece. So now what does he do? He takes the objective role. So while he does that, Plasma's just slaying out 7 kills, 2 deaths, and enabling Swayz, I should say in particular, to put up a massive chunk of ball time. That's 34 seconds, pretty much uncontested right now. And we have even the PP coming out. I almost thought it connected them with Pips. I think the Brute actually took the shot. He did have the homing coming in, just didn't connect. It's not a gun we see used too often, Justin, but in close quarters in particular, when you are up on this top tower, just a quick burst right at the enemy can really drain the shields. And again, he gets close, doesn't connect, but he does a great job at least of dropping Slayz out in the open there. But we do see Divine Mind picking up this OS. So whilst Chiefs were doing their work to try and get Pips out of that top tower, Divine Mind said, you can have the tower, we're going to get the OS. You can see Swayz now has in his back pocket 3 to deal with, but even while copying fire from 3 players, he still manages to pick up 1 kill, can get a second if he takes Madsy. The only one left now, BZIIRK, starting to take ball over to Nest, but Swayz is able to just drop him, Justin. It's just showing how crucial this OS is now with this new double layer that's been added to it.
So Swayz was just involved in 4 kills there, Hoots. Like, he 3v1'd with that OS, taking them down. Granted, he had the OS, but then that 4th player was there. He drops down and takes him out and grabs some ball time. Like, that was just textbook execution from him there. Just a one-man army, but rated falling down there. Now on board with Pips, and you were talking about the plasma pistol before, and that's just something Pips does. He's very good at utilizing everything on the map. If there's an advantage to be had, he will get it. And look at that. He's like, I'm going to grab the heat wave rather than the oddball. Puts it to use right away. Picks up the sniper, not able to get a shot off. You can see the intention. He's just like, I'm grabbing that heat wave because it's going to create opportunities to get some ball time rather than just scrapping 2 points together with that oddball.
Absolutely, we do have Divine Mind still holding this really quite large lead, 50 points up in this first round. Chiefs just not really able to get too much of the ball, and again we have Plasma starting to run it, holding in the garage, so not something we saw too much in that last game with Digital Nation and Direwolf. So this garage hold, Plasma has that snipe in his back pocket as well, so hopefully he can get in position relatively soon to palm this off to one of his teammates. Much rather him actually putting in some damage with the snipe rather than holding ball. Pip with that heat wave again we see taking down BZIIRK. Plasma's out to 11 kills now for Divine Mind. Pip going 9 and 5 as well, so Slaying really working pretty strongly here for Divine Mind, not so much for the Chiefs. That OS is about to pop. I believe Pips has just left that for one of his teammates to pick up. Takes down Madsy, gets done from behind by Slayz, I think it was. And Slayz
I love
just that
repulsor play there.
Yeah,
It's not to cut you off. He
No,
just went,
no.
I'm not winning this. See it, mate.
Exactly, just get out of there. Slayz is dropped as well. I think we do see Swayz, I should say now, is in this garage. He did have OS, so that OS has now been taken down. BZIIRK is dropped by Swayz, so that OS now no longer a factor, but because of that, they're able to push into this garage, take control again, Justin, 77-6, so a real strong lead coming out here from Divine Mind. This is a real statement to start this matchup off.
Speaking of statements, have a look at Plasma there. Got double positive right now. He's full styling on the Chiefs currently, but we are on board with Rated. He's currently 8 and 8 right now in a nice battle with Slayz. There gets the better of him with some crispy shots. Madsy coming in with the cleanup though. Madsy now with that sniper, he's going to need to hit some shots to get his team into it. He drops down right away, and it does look like Chiefs is struggling quite a lot. Divine Mind, they really need one more connection of ball time, and they'll be able to close this one out. The ball has been reset after it sat down, getting cold like leftovers in the fridge. Now Madsy, opportunity to get them back in the game. He has got that heat wave fully loaded off the rack, rotating that ball over. Even though they're so behind Hoots, he can tell that he's still just in the mindset of we need to win this game. He finds himself desperately trying to stay alive. That's key for the Chiefs players. They can't afford to be falling. They can't afford silly deaths. Madsy doing everything he can, but he does fall. Now Rated trying to hunt out, BZIIRK trying to hunt out that one-shot play, not able to get that final burst into the player, and here he is. Got to shut down Rated as soon as possible because they are 95 points, but that player is going to get away from BZIIRK. There's nothing he could do. You could see he was trying, but he kept getting pushed back, and looks like Divine Mind taking round number 1.
Just beautiful rotation there with the ball as well from Divine Mind. It looked like they were running down bottom mid to try and get away potentially through to Brutes, but then doubles back knowing that he's got his team's coverage there. So it just shows that the communication is really firing right now for Divine Mind. I mean, look at the Slayz across the board as well. All Divine Mind players in double digits, rather high double digits as well in the case of people like Plasma. Meanwhile, Chiefs, you've got 3 guys in single digits and only Beastn with the 10. So the slaying is just going to be a real factor right now. Divine Mind putting that to work. You can see Swayz there. I thought that should have almost just been a no-scope, but even doubles that up with the grenade as well. That OS is about to pop, and he's just dropping shields left, right, and center. 3 down for the Chiefs. Beastn's the last one alive to try and put a stop on this OS, but he's going to be taken out as well. So the OS will be taken here by Swayz. I'm surprised none of his teammates were able to pick it up, Justin. I think they maybe just said, Swayz, you can take care of all this. Swayz just jumping around, chucks the OS in, and he's going to be able to push really hard up here onto bottom tower. Sorry, he's going to be met with 3 players though, so they have baited him around quite a bit. Beastn doing a great job just peeking, staying alive, and he's melted that entire OS. So Swayz has been able to do nothing with the OS. In fact, he's dropped. So the Chiefs, that's what we need to see more of, Justin, is that real solid teamwork. And look, they've neutralized the OS, and finally they're getting hands on some ball time. But the whole time I've been talking, I haven't realized Divine Mind 27-6. So they've managed to scrap a fair bit up while all that was going on.
Yes, certainly did, and something to note as well. I don't think Swayz missed the no-scope. Yeah, he wasn't hitting any headshots, but he'd hit the body and then go for the cleanup instantly. And when you're hitting shots like that, it's no wonder his teammates were able to string together some ball time for them. But the Chiefs, not out of it just yet. Beastn, he does fall, but that's a lot of players from the Chiefs going down. 3 X's in the kill feed, and Divine Mind, they're well set up in the garage. And Pips, he has that heat wave as well in a really strong position. He can just shut down pushes so well with this power weapon, and he's looking for them. He's checking all the different routes that these players can take, and look at this. He's being given the ring around the rosy. Beastn taking him out, but to say that Chiefs, it looks like they might be able to break this setup here, Hoots. This is their opportunity. Get some kills, get that ball, string together some time, and get themselves back into this match.
Yeah, this is really the moment here for them, I think. They really need to try and find something here because Divine Mind has made a real statement so far in this opening game saying that, you know, last week wasn't a fluke. We're coming out strong again. Beastn, he has this OS, so he's able to push in with this heat wave, although been mostly melted, it looks like. I don't know who it is he's up against. I think it's Pip, so Pip's doing a great job of staying alive, and we might even have Beastn taken down here. That is just so unfortunate for Beastn. He should have had Pips dead to rights. He had teammates throwing nades in as well to help him out, but unfortunately just cannot even secure a kill with that OS. 2 down, 3 down now for Divine Mind though, so the Chiefs, this is their time to start trying to get a bit more ball time. You do see now they've brought it back to less than 10 seconds. They're starting here now, Divine Mind, to try and push in and break this setup. Slayz there holding the ball. It's only Madsy really providing some kind of protection for him. Slayz, I like that though, dropping the ball, fighting back himself. Slayz and Madsy, the only 2 Chiefs players up in Garage. Slayz is going to be dropped. Madsy though, that's huge. Winning that one-on-one battle there. 4 dead for Divine Mind. Madsy picking up the ball. Snipe up now for BZIIRK. And you have Divine Mind spawning around bottom tower, Justin. So now we can see Chiefs getting some big time together.
Yeah, it was great stuff from the Chiefs there to start stringing things, and they have taken the lead in this round. Now BZIIRK with that fresh snipe as well, so look at him to start connecting things, and just no hesitation with that sniper as well. Just a lot of confidence that he'll hit those shots, not only to connect with them, but you've just got to believe that you're going to hit those shots, and that's when you see those crazy plays where they just go for them. They don't waste time trying to line things up too much. They just, their gut instinct. And look, BZIIRK is on the hunt. He's angry. He wants to be able to get these kills. Plasma getting the better of him in there. I'm not sure how many jumps BZIIRK was able to pull off. It looked like he was flying in the sky half the time there, but switching through players that are falling left and right. Double kill for Slayz. It takes a little bit of time for the body disrespect. And Slayz, you know, I don't think you have time to shoot bodies when you haven't secured this game just yet, but he gets it done anyway, searching out these plays, and it looks like the switch has been flipped, Hoots. There's just something about the Chiefs. They seem to be more aggressive, more confident, and just hunting down Divine Mind.
You took the words right out of my mouth. This has been a massive swing. We've seen Chiefs really start to pick up the lane. They've got an OS. Beastn's obviously got that in now. It's just about to run out. But the fact that they've been able to secure this OS, and whenever I'm looking up at the Divine Mind scoreboard, Divine Mind are 2 or 3 dead, and the Chiefs are only about 1 or all up. So you can see, look at the score, how this has changed. I think you're absolutely right, Justin. The score has absolutely flipped. Plasma's dropped there. They're the only 3 players left.
He's out of ammo.
And he's out of ammo, so I don't know what he's going to be able to do there apart from just melee. But even then, regardless, he manages to keep them at bay. And the Chiefs, that's a massive turnaround, Justin. The switch has absolutely been flipped. They just came alive in the second half of that round. And we're just having a look at the Steam store there. Everything's looking good, which is fantastic. We're just going to be getting back into this third round, I think. Maybe just a couple of little issues. No, we're all good. We're back. So we are just jumping into this final round here. Good to see the game's updated. The Steam store's looking nice and fresh. And we do have this snipe now being picked up by Divine Mind off this opening rush. Plasma down there with the heat wave in bottom mid. Madsy just trying to put shots on him, keeping him at bay. But Plasma doing a good job of staying alive, although he will be dropped with Beastn taking him down. This OS popping in 10. And at this point, BZIIRK just trying to stay alive, put pressure on this OS. But with 1 down for each, I think we're going to see the Chiefs be in a position to grab this relatively uncontested. So not sure, Justin, what Divine Mind were focusing on for that part of the game there while that OS was coming up. But we just see how important that is for the Chiefs to have, although 2 down for them. Madsy still with this OS, so he manages to stay alive bottom mid. Picks up a double though in Swayz, so Swayz with that double kill. Huge to take that OS out of Madsy's hands and just keep this ball neutralized down at bottom mid. But a real rough scrap at the start here, Justin. No team really able to get any kind of ascendancy.
That was just absolute mayhem down there, wasn't it, Hoots? It was just kind of like last man standing is going to get all the goodies, snipe, heat wave, and the ball as well. Beastn putting in some damage, but he gets called out and taken down instantly. Now with Slayz here with the board, racking up some points, but Pips, he's got the sniper rifle in hand, doesn't hit the body. That's a dangerous situation for him, but BZIIRK has to back up anyway with no shields. Fresh mag into that head smasher of a rifle. Searching these players out, does get the easy cleanup with the nade, taking out that player, doesn't get the better of him. Beastn with the heat wave, still full shields to go in and take things out. He's got all the goodies, heat wave, sniper. Beastn, time to shine, time to show Divine Mind what you're made of.
Absolutely, Beastn with this heatwave picking up the assist. Swayz is going to be play balling this. It looks like he doesn't actually get it off, so that is a real mess up there for Divine Mind and not able to take that ball off. And we do have, look at this OS, Divine Mind absolutely committing to this overshield. They are going to pick it up. Beastn is going to drop shields of one of the Divine Mind players, I believe, but this OS is going to be in the hands of Divine Mind, you would assume. I'm just not sure who actually has managed to put it in or if it's actually been melted already, Justin. I think this has just been a pretty frantic dash for this OS here. We do have Pips holding it now down around near bottom mid, trying to get down there. He can't actually make the push over, though, to top tower, knowing the heat was coming really strong. 2 down 4 Chiefs, though. So hopefully if Divine Mind can get things together, they should be able to make a move on this ball to get it to tower. But I think right now, Justin, it's more just intel gathering, trying to find where Chiefs are spawning before committing, and it looks like Garage is where they're going to be taking it. So Swayz moving the ball to Garage. He's leading the objective time across the board for both teams. So Swayz just clearly playing the objective role a little more than the Slayer role that we normally see him do. Plasma just using this repulsor so well, trying to keep the Chiefs at bay. Manages to actually pick up quite a few assists there as well. So that was 3 dead for the Chiefs. Divine Mind should have a good run now at holding in Garage to rack up some time.
Yeah, this game feels like it's been going for a really long time, and the scoreline is still so low, which means it's anybody's game at this point. It's not like, you know, the Chiefs are on 70 points and Divine Mind's trailing at 10. The scoreline is essentially the same. It's just like one little string together of times. And Pip doing so well for the double kill, goes in for the challenge to try and stop the play ball. He does get the kills there, but the ball is played, so going to have to wait for that one to spawn back up. A lot of X's going down. It's just back and forth in the Slayz department. No team really being able to get one up on the other. It's just like a couple of kills and then scrap time. They're so evenly matched together that no team is dominating the other at this point. But we are on board with Madsy the Shark as he moves in for the hunt. Blood's in the water. He's hunting for them, able to work with his teammate there to clean them out. Turns around and there's Swayz. Swayz has picked up that fresh OS, and here he comes. He's got the heat wave as well. Perfect opportunity to break the setup, but the setup doesn't need to be broken when everyone's already dead. BZIIRK in a little bit of trouble here because Swayz with that heat wave and that OS, he tug-tailed and run. And look at this, Divine Mind, perfect position to rack up some points here. Swayz not able to get too many kills just there, but all the players are falling. Pip's doing well to get a trade there, and that just plays into Divine Mind's hands. You know, when you're trading kills out, you can still get ball time because you've still got control.
So much death everywhere, Justin. It's been a really dirty, scrappy game so far. But that OS, when it was in the hands of Divine Mind, they were able to put on some real scoreboard dominance here and start to get a pretty big lead. This has probably been the biggest lead of the game so far, up by about 40 or so points. But BZIIRK having none of that. Big win there, moving this ball now back into Garage. This seems to be the area that both teams are favouring. No one else seems to have really had too much luck holding it at B, holding it at top tower. BZIIRK, though, looks like he's got other plans. He's starting to shift the ball away from Garage, moving it around to B. And Justin, this does just keep surprising me because we're not seeing teams have any success over here. You see BZIIRK bringing it across, instantly he has to drop the ball. Nade picks him up. That's just going to be a bit of a dead zone. I feel that teams are favouring it because it's a safe way to play ball, but when you do have a relatively strong setup in Garage, I don't understand why they're not trying to hold it there.
I don't know, mate. It could be that the Chiefs are reading the situation and going, hey, listen, we're trailing by 30-ish points. We need to be in a position where we can play ball because they're just going to keep pushing in and breaking the setup. They can't afford to be scratched down by fighting up in blue. They need to just move it to an area that they can play that ball. It didn't work out for them because of the execution, but I think the intent was there, and it's keeping them in the game at this point. But look at that, Swayz with another double kill going 27 and 20. But look at his assists. He's got 23 assists. This man is just an absolute turret. Finds himself one, looking for the second. There he gets it. He's got that OS as well. Huge. He always seems to have that OS, and it's like he doesn't need it, but he's got it, and that's just must be so frustrating for the Chiefs guys.
Oh, just look at the swing we have now. They haven't had to drop the ball the whole time that Swayz has had this OS because he can just put in so much work. Only 9 seconds to go now, so they went on about a 30-point run with that OS on their side. It's just such a crucial factor of this game now. Chiefs just weren't really on top of of making sure they're in a position to grab it. You obviously need to have so many things to keep in your mind when you are playing on this map. With, you know, you've got the ball, obviously, snipe, OS, but if you lose that OS, it's the most crucial aspect, and you can just see teams go absolutely to town on you if you don't make sure you secure that OS. Swayz here using the drop wall as well. I thought that was going to work out for him. 3 down for Divine Mind, so if you are Chiefs, this is where you need to make your move. You've only got 35 seconds left on the clock as well, so you need to be holding that ball for as long as you can, not letting that timer count down, but making sure your score's going up. BZIIRK holding it here in the window. We do see people doing this a lot because it can be tricky to hit, but unfortunately BZIIRK cops it from both angles, has to drop it out at scoreboard. Madsy hunting down the ball. He knows that he needs to start picking this up because they just simply can't allow the ball to go unheld right now. But meanwhile, Divine Mind, if you're Divine Mind, keep the Chiefs away from the ball. There's no point picking it up right now. I know you only need 9 seconds, but there's only 15 seconds of game time left. Just stay away from it and at least let that timer count down. But instead, no, they actually want to go for the win straight away. So the ball will be held, although dropped again. I think maybe they've realized it just makes sense to leave it completely. Let that timer drop down. Look at them just sitting there looking around at the ball. Chiefs have to run at it, basically like fish in a barrel. And Divine Mind will take the opening game, Justin. It was dirty. There was a lot of slaying, a lot of kills going on. It seemed at any one point there were only 2 up for each team. But eventually Divine Mind do it, but they had to work for it.
Yeah, they certainly did. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, players falling left and right, but Divine Mind, it seemed like they were the only team that could go on like a big solid run. Once those players had fallen, they got their setups and they held them really, really well. And what was really good to see is that, yes, they were really close to closing things out, but they didn't just start trailing in one player at a time. You could tell that they grouped together and made a coordinator push and just steamrolled their way through, because you have to give respect to the Chiefs. You only need a few more points, but that doesn't matter. If you keep going in 1, 2 at a time to break a setup, they're just going to punish you. But Divine Mind keeping a cool head and getting it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give a shout out to Beastn, I think it was, leading all comers for damage on the map there with 11,000. So absolutely massive numbers. But look, props to Divine Mind. They were definitely challenged in that one by the Chiefs. And I think if this is anything to go by, we are going to have a really close series here. Obviously, we are going best of 5. So Divine Mind, obviously super important to get off to a positive start on this opening map, because, you know, they're the hunted now, as we said at the start. You know, they've every single time they've been coming into tournaments, they've been the team who's been hunting down the Chiefs. We've often said that they're probably the biggest contest the Chiefs have had the whole time. But now that they're finally coming in as the defending champs, winning last week, they have a lot to be, you know, to prove as well. They have to prove that the last week wasn't a fluke at all, and that they are now the top team. And, you know, after having a loss in New Zealand at the Armageddon Land over the weekend, and we did say that obviously, you know, the teams weren't complete at that point. There were a sub hero there, but, you know, they want to be able to come back and say that when we have our full roster and you have your full roster, Chief, we're the current #1 team heading into DreamHack as well. So, you know, they've got the target on their back and they need to figure out how to win with that on their back as well. But a really solid effort there. There was just, you know, the usual suspects were slaying out pretty hard. And in particular, I was really interested to see Swayz, how much objective time he was playing. Because as we've said before, we usually see him as just the out-and-out slayer. But, you know, clearly he's showing that he's a well-rounded individual, because he can add that objective quiver to his bow as well.
Yeah, it did seem like when he was picking up kills, it was very purposeful, right? You could see he was like, okay, I've got to get these kills before objective can start, and he would just go in there and get it done. It wasn't like he was just, you know, baiting his teammates out, hanging back from the action, not taking much damage. No, he got in there and he got it done, and he was just outgunning people. That's just as simple as it is. And, you know, Halo is about those fundamental skills, working together as a team, baiting and switching, rotating and all that kind of stuff. But end of the day, if someone is just outgunning you, then you can't create opportunities on the map. And that's what Swayz has been doing. And with the absence of what Barcode was doing in the scene, he was someone that was just outgunning, outplaying people individually and creating opportunities. And Swayz has kind of filled that power vacuum quite a bit. But the Chiefs, we can go on about Swayz and Pips and all those guys, but the Chiefs, they've got Madsy, they've got Slayz, they've got Beastn, they've got BZIIRK, they've got plenty of power players in their arsenal as well, and they're not out of this just yet, so I'm looking to them, and I can't imagine they would have taken that loss lightly, so watch them come out of the gates hot. I reckon they're angry about that loss there, Hoots.
Absolutely. So we are moving into Slayer on Catalyst, straight into it, jumping on with Beastn. And as I said earlier, he was the player putting out the most damage across the map in that last game. And we do have this OS that spawns instantly down at bottom mid. So teams looking to make a move on that as quickly as possible. We have seen just how crucial that OS can be to really allow your team to put a bit of separation between themselves and the opposition. We start off really strong with Rated here, a nice double. And I think we might have had Swayz actually grabbing that OS if my eyes don't deceive me, and that's correct. His OS is now just fully run out as we swap to him, but you can see it's the reason he was able to pick up that double there. Interestingly, Justin, skewer up top. It's been a bit of a contentious move having the skewer here in competitive HCS play. No team really looking to make a move on it as yet, but Swayz putting that OS to use, picking up 2 kills. Rated though already, Justin, out to 5 off the very start, so he's looking to make a real statement in this one as well.
He is, but look at poor Plasma trying to hunt down Beastn there. He's looking for him, and it looks like he's just decided to rotate away. It's like, oh, there he is. That's where he got to, and that's the benefit of this new map Catalyst, is that, you know, there's so many different routes and things that you can take. And look at this, Beastn went, Madsy, I'm getting bullied. It just then got his mate and turned around, but Rated, he's fired up with the body disrespect. That's what you want to see from these two top squads. And, you know, when you have someone that's feeling good and confident enough to smack bodies when you're only 14 kills into a game, you know things are going to start getting spicy. No lemon and herb from Nando's here. We're going like the 4 out of 5 chilies on this one, Hoots.
How do I respond to that? I love it. It's great. Jumping on board with Rated, though, you could just see the amount of fire he was putting down on the Chiefs. All 4 were stacked over on that green side there, and they are coming on a push through here to flag. So BZIIRK, he's going to be the first one dropped. Unfortunately, he's not able to pick up any kills. There's a double as well for Rated. He's starting super strong, Justin. 9 kills, 1 death, and he's trying to conserve his life. He knows he might have a spree sort of on the card soon, and he wants to grab one of those, one of those medals, but he's going to have to hang back a little bit here as we do see him now starting to hunt down Slayz. Slayz dealing with 2 and actually gets the ninja there. So he put a stop to that for Rated. It's the killing spree there, so that's 5 in a row for him. Shots now coming from BZIIRK, and we're seeing the plasma reader used quite a bit as well, Justin, which I haven't really seen until tonight. So I'm not sure why teams are starting to favour that, but I think that's the 2nd or 3rd time, the pulse carbine I should say, sorry, probably the 2nd or 3rd time I've seen that tonight. Not sure if there's something we're missing in terms of that weapon being used, but it's it's definitely a new one.
Sometimes, you know, you just, you know, when in Rome, you see it on the rack, you grab it and go, oh yeah, this gun does damage, I'm just going to use this. And, you know, when you're in the zone, sometimes you just got to do it. You got to get things going. But Rated already on double-digit kills, and Plasma, he's only on 1. But I don't think it's fair to call him out because Rated has just been going through and clearing everything out. Yeah. But we are on board with Slayz from the Chiefs, and you know, Rated went on that massive tear, but there's still only 6 points between them. It's not like it's a dominating performance from Divine Mind, and this is a good opportunity for the Chiefs to bring themselves back into this game and tie things up when, you know, where play goes on a bit of a heater, but they've got to cool off, right? They can't go ham 100% of the time. Now with Plasma trying to hunt down Beastn. Beastn just been such an annoying kill so far this game. Really doing well, valuing his life, trying to get away when he's dead to rights. But Divine Mind, they're starting to crawl away a little bit. But now Madsy with that skewer, caught looking the wrong direction. The timing on that shoots one off, not able to connect. And Madsy called out, collapse on Swayz, taking him down there. Pips trying to find Beastn. Beastn being a frustrating kill as always, but it doesn't matter. He falls anyway. That OS is about to pop, Hoots. That's going to be key for Chiefs if they want to get back into this game because it's quickly slipping through their fingers.
Oh, without question.
He can do it, and he stole it.
He misses. If he managed to get it the first time, I think we would have been okay, but it's lucky for them. Swayz is there. Eye on the prize straight away. Runs in and picks up that after Pip fumbled a couple of times with the grapple there. Swayz, this is so smart from him, although he doesn't predict the sword. I love the stick, Justin, but he didn't predict the sword being there, and that's the one way to neutralize an OS instantly. Great he got the trade at least. It would have been style points 100% if he managed to get the stick and stay alive, but I love the aggression. I guess you can do stuff like that when you do have a 13 kill lead. So, you know, Chiefs, if they didn't get that OS, they at least had to neutralize it, which they do. They take a trade from it, but they really need to get their hands on the next one, I think, if they want any chance of being able to bring this lead back, because we just have seen how crucial it is, but more importantly, how well Divine Mind have been using it when they're able to get their hands on it.
Something I want to point out, Hoots, was that when Divine Mind played Direwolves earlier, Direwolves punished them when they tried to be a little bit too fancy, right? But with the Chiefs, they just don't seem to be taking advantage of when Swayz just wants to launch himself across the map. Like, he has no business grappling from bottom mid up and sticking a sword guide just for funsies. Like, you can't allow that kind of stuff to happen. Yes, it's a bit of an out there play, but it's, you know, if a player is able to make a play like that, it's kind of, okay, what else are you doing on the map? You know, you should have more control. You can't let a player run rampant like that. And it's starting to translate because Divine Mind, they only need 6 more kills to be able to put this one in the bag. No steak dinner this time around, but I think they can at least shout him a beer.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't even know if this OS is maybe going to come up in time. I think Divine Mind's in a race to try and close this out before it even becomes a factor. There's a nice trade there. Only 3 kills left now for Divine Mind to take a 2-0 lead in this series, and what has been a really convincing second game Slayer on Catalyst. You see the OS has popped. I'm not sure if anyone's actually been able to put it in yet. You've got raided for Divine Mind. Going hunting with the sword, doesn't even need to. Just a real clinic there. Shout out to Pips in particular. 13 kills, 13 assists. On the other side of the equation, Beastn had a pretty rough day at the office. Just wasn't really able to get into much of a rhythm there. But that was just a really dominant performance from Divine Mind, Justin. And to be honest, quite shocking given how close that second Oddball game was, that first Oddball game was. To have a Slayer just be a pretty big spanking like that, that's a real statement from Divine Mind going into a Game 3 where if they do win, they can close this series out and send the Chiefs to the losers bracket. And more importantly, if they do come up against each other in the grand finals, force them to at least reset the bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, I was praising Beast in that game being a really hard kill and really annoying, but I mean, if you're running away, you're not shooting your gun, right? And, you know, some of those situations, perhaps he was better off standing and fighting because, you know, trading out kills is sometimes just what you need to do. You need to go, okay, well, I'm not going to win this fight, but if I can get 2 bursts into them, that means the next fight that my teammates are going into, they're going to be able to take that player down. But if he spends all his time, you know, playing ring around the rosy, running around the map, trying to stay alive, but dying anyway, then he's not really having much impact on the map. Or it could just be that the Chiefs, they just weren't playing themselves. They lost that first game, which was really tight. Maybe they're a bit triggered. Maybe they're a bit annoyed. Like I said, they're coming to this game pissed. Maybe they're pissed at themselves, and that's why they're struggling a little bit. Absolutely. I mean, just keeping your eye on the scoreboard throughout these replays, and Raided was just going off as well. I did give Pips a shout out towards the end, but Raided, I think he ended up, going positive 10 in that one with 8 assists. So, you know, there was a bit of body disrespect going on early in the piece, Justin. So there's a bit of fight in this map as well, in this match as well, which we love to see. These two teams obviously have been duking it out quite a bit over the last few months. You know, they came in and fought each other in the Super in the finals, but the teams have changed quite a bit. And yet there's still that pretty fierce rivalry that we love. And, you know, as we've said before, the Aussies love some trash talk, and when you can't be right next to each other, when you're forced to compete online, that body disrespect is that way to send that trash talk across. But look, a super strong performance there from Divine Mind, and that really, I think, if I went into this matchup at the start thinking it could be anyone's game, after that first one, I still couldn't really pick a favourite, but I think it's pretty safe to say after that game too that Divine Mind looking like the team to beat tonight. And you know what? I think a part of it is also the Chiefs beating themselves. That body disrespect coming in from Raided and Pips. These guys are all mates, right? For anyone that's not too familiar with the scenes, they've all teamed together at some point. They've all been bros that have been out and had drinks together and all that kind of stuff. They know how to push each other's buttons. And Raided knows that if he goes up and shoots BZIIRK's body, that he's going to punch in the wall next to him, be annoyed about that, and they're getting into their head. So looking to the Chief to just cool it down a little bit. Bring the fever down, put a cold flannel across the head, and get your head into the game. And, you know, Divine Minds, they've been really strong, really dominant, but you know, Chiefs can just flip the script at any point if they want to, and it's up to them to get it done.
Absolutely. So we're now moving into King of the Hill on Streets. First time we've seen King of the Hill tonight, Justin, as we have spoken about before. Relatively new game type, but it has got a bit of a a new spin on it in terms of the previous King of the Hills we have seen in other Halos. We are working on a point system, so you want to rack up as much time as you can in each hill. Try and fill that bar before the other team can fill theirs to get a point. Hill then moves, and we just keep going until we get a team reaching first to 4. If we do have a tie at the end of regulation time, we will go into a decisive final hill. But I reckon we probably will be able to get a result out of this. Given the way Divine Mind have been playing, I think they're going to be looking to come out of the block strong. But it is Chiefs looking to focus on the hill at the start. They want to set the tone for this opening part of the game, Justin. And Swayz again. Justin, at what point is it too early to start doing that? Is it ever too early?
Never.
It's never too early.
It is never too early. I mean, before even the game starts on LAN, you should be going up and body disrespecting the people around you. Actually, don't do that. That's poor advice. But you know what I mean. It's just kind of like you got to get fired up. You got to believe that you're the best and challenge people and get in their heads. That's what you do as competitors. And Oddball with Pips, he racks himself up a double kill and just hanging out there in the hill, and he's rotating away. This is a very interesting play. And I think, Pips is one shot, Pips is one shot. He rotates around, gets a bit of a flank. He does get called out, but interesting play. Didn't pan out for him too well in that instance, but I liked the intention.
Yeah, I really liked it as well. I mean, he was just a little bit sloppy with some of those shots. He probably could have at least netted 1 kill from that. But at least what he did do was keep the Chiefs guys off the hill, and you have seen now Chiefs jumped out to a pretty early start on the hill, but I don't really think they've had any time now since Divine Mind have begun to occupy it. We do see now Plasma is dropped, 3 dead for Divine Mind, so Chiefs should be able to rack up a little bit of time here, you'd think. Pip's really the last one in a position to try and stop a hold on this hill, but Chiefs now able to start to rack up a little bit of time. The Beastn will be forced back with nades coming into the hill. They have had to vacate. Sometimes it is smart to forego scoring for a little bit, Justin, just so you can stay alive and at least stop the other team from getting in there. Rockets are just popping now, so we are going to see, it looks like Pip trying to make a move on them. He's got some support there, so he can start to run out with no shields. These rockets can be absolutely crucial, knowing that there's the team has to come to you in the hill, although Plasma will be dropped, probably overextended a bit. Then there's another death for Divine Mind up around where those rockets have dropped, and that's huge from BZIIRK. That's 3 dead for Divine Mind. Rockets are down in the hill. BZIIRK, they're right at his feet, and he doesn't want to pick him up.
Behind you,
he's
mate.
run right
it's on the ground, please.
I still don't think he's aware that they're at his feet, and he's not going to pick them up. Madsy did pick them up at least. Okay, so it's someone from the Chiefs has managed to grab them. It's Madsy. I think he picked up 1 assist with them, maybe scuffed the second one, but that is all 4 dead for the Chiefs. Divine Mind just with a slight lead in this hill, but with all 4 dead for the Chiefs, Divine Mind should be able to get this hill. If Rated can just keep his head down, he has a fair bit of shields left, and that first point is going to go to them. So the Rockets, obviously, they weren't really used too effectively in that final part of the hill there, Justin, but Divine Mind, after a bit of a slow start, take that opening point, and we're going to see a push here onto Tram, where we do have this next hill spawning with the Chiefs getting a little bit of time at the start, but they're not really in a position to net too much more while we have this fight down around bottom Tram here.
Yeah, something to note for people that are used to the old school way of King of the Hill working is that it's not points based. You have to win the hill, so it can be back and forth, and all that efforts that Chiefs put in to hold down that hill, they get resorted 0 points for what happened there, and only Divine Mind getting away with anything there. So a different way of doing things for King of the Hill. I'm liking the change so far. Now on board with Rated. He is starting off a little bit slow in the kills department, but he has got 7 assists to his name, so he is putting damage down on the map, which is the important thing. There's that pulse carbine you said that you don't see a lot of there, Hoots, and he cops a couple of grenades and goes down and turns himself into a plant, just plants himself into the ground there. Slayz picking up that fresh rocket. I like this angle there. Shout out to the observers over in the production studio. 2 rockets to play with here. Rated rounding the corner, copping 1 grenade at the feet, and Slayz instantly pushing out. Does he scamper away with his life? Yes, he does. Trying to stay alive, finds himself Pips as well. Slayz doing really well. Nice rocket placement there. Hoots, I bet you're happy about that.
Absolutely, and you're seeing it's converted into Chiefs getting a really strong chunk of time here. Divine Mind finally able to stop them, but those rockets there, he was perfectly positioned to stop that run-up coming down from Cafe, and And really, we've just now had Divine Mind be able to get some semblance of control down in this bottom hill. And Swayz doing a really good job to stay alive there. Beastn does poke out bottom mid and takes him down with that sight line there. And Beastn now just trying to stay alive around this ball spawn area. And the nades coming in from Pips. But look how quickly Divine Mind have swung this back, Justin. It's pretty much all equal now. And with this Bulldog, they're going to be able to do a really good job here, Pips, of at least trying to keep Beastn off it. Beastn does manage to stay alive, but I love the movement from Pips here. He's taken down one, taken down two. That's a double. And he can get in. And with this 3 down for the Chiefs, you could see Divine Mind swing around and take this hill. If he can get enough protection, the push looks like it's going to come down from Pizza. But Pip in a perfect spot here to take this second point, Justin. That's got to be crushing for the Chiefs because they were in such a prime position to take that point and just weren't able to close it out.
Yeah, it's a prime example of just how different this King of the Hill game mode is. It's, you know, Chiefs are almost there. Pips comes in, gets a monstrous double kill, and then just holds it down and clutches up that hill. And then the Chiefs get nada for all of their effort. But we are on board with Slayz right now, looking for some kills. He's got that Stalker Rifle in hand. He throws out a little bit of a wall, maybe a little bit of a panic. He wasn't expecting the player to be there, but just throws it out. But that rocket is about to pop. That's going to be so key for the Chiefs. They cannot let Divine Mind grab that. They've got to get something going in this game. And Slayz now on board with him. His shields are flashing, doing everything that he can to stay alive. He's 12 and 10 right now, so showing up for his boys. Madsy, one rocket to play with here, looking for a play behind him, but it doesn't matter. Rated below, taking him out, and Slayz goes in for the cleanup. He gets scared too, and he runs away. He gets taken down. Divine Mind just working so well together. 360 medal coming up for Beastn there. Not sure how he got the ballerina medal for that one. Here comes Plasma with that Bulldog. Ruff takes him down now. Back aboard with Slayz to see what he can do. He seems to be putting up big numbers, but he can't keep the Chiefs in this one just yet, and he falls. Looking over at the scoreline, rated 5 and 11 right now. Yes, he's trailing in the kills, but he just seems to be getting things done, Hoots.
Yeah, I mean, it's 11 assists as well. 11 assists, 11 deaths. They're doing a lot of work for his team. Plasma, great double there. Chiefs really need... So Chiefs have the lead in this hill. They can't really afford to lose this third one. You know, they've got the lead again. They just need to make sure they're holding. They've got a relatively okay setup here, although they will lose too quickly, and we'll have Divine Mind jump straight in. Madsy, unfortunately, not really in a position to be helping defend that hill from back there. The kill assist comes in as well. Great work by Pips and Raided to team shot that. And Justin, the main important thing is these hills, you really don't need a long amount of time to get a point. It's not like Oddball where you have to get 100. It's quite quick. So 1 or 2 good runs of play. We spoke about it last week. One big multi-kill, if you can get like a triple or something like that, that can be absolutely huge in allowing you to capture that hill and get a really strong chunk of time to put yourself in a position to grab that point. We do have a pretty even spread right here in terms of hill time for both teams on this third point. So I think this is going to come down to just one solid play from one team right now. Chiefs, they've got a pretty good setup right now. Plasma, the self-nades, they're not going to help at all. This kill on Beastn doesn't go through, and the kill still being occupied by Chiefs. They're jumping in and out. They're baiting out really well. They only need a sliver of more time to capture this, and it seems right now they've got Divine Mind on the back foot. They haven't been able to get too much semblance of control. Plasma does have 21 kills and only 12 deaths, but this is the time that the Chiefs need to be able to start racking up some more points. They've got the lead now. Slayz has the rockets, which is huge. The nades come in, taking down Raided, and I think we should see Chiefs take this first point for them on this third hill, Justin.
I think this is where the game starts swinging around Hoots. I can just feel it in the waters, and you know what's lurking in the water. It's going to be the Shark with 12 and 14 currently. Yes, he's neg 2, but when you're starting to get back into the game, you've got to be watching out for those players, and it did seem like that last hill, Hoots, you called it out. They just seem to be in control, and Divine Mind, they're a little bit flustered, and I think this is where we see Chiefs rein things back quite a bit. They're not going down without a fight. Now with Slayz, he's 17 and 16 with 12 assists. He's just doing everything that he can for his squad right now, and I love this. He's pushing in on Swayz there and tries to take him out, but Swayz sliding in with that shotgun, taking him down. Here comes Madsy to try and get the cleaner, able to secure that kill for his team, but Pips responding instantly. Like it seems like every single time a player gets weak, they win a 1v1 situation, but they get cleaned up instantly, and that's just credit to both of these veteran squads.
Absolutely. This is a big moment for the Chiefs in this game, Justin. We've seen a few times they've started to get a bit of a lead on, but Divine Minds made it to shut them down and end up taking the first 2 games of the series. We obviously said before this is best of 5, so they need to win this 3rd game if they want to keep this series alive. That was 4 dead for Divine Minds, so Chiefs looking like they're in a position to potentially get some real points up on this 4th hill now. Madsy, he has the rockets. He's getting in close quarters. We see the rockets go down there all the time, Justin. Meanwhile, though, the Chiefs still racking up time here. Keep in mind, though, we are 1-2. Chiefs in a position to capture this 4th hill to force a 2-all. And look at the time, Justin. Only 20 seconds left. So that's important as well. Chiefs are going to need to start getting time because when they're in the hill, the countdown timer stops going. And they've only got 17 seconds to work with now. So that's only 17 seconds they can afford to not be in this hill capturing. Meanwhile, Divine Mind just trying to get something back. Chiefs still holding that hill. 16 seconds of regulation time left right now. And Divine Mind back in. They haven't been too successful in this hill at all, but look what they're doing. It looks like they're just trying to hold them out. See Pip not going in. This is super smart, Justin. Play out the clock. I said at the start that we probably would see a result and that the timer wouldn't get down to 0. It looks like it's going to, and this is absolutely perfect from Divine Mind. It's a bit of an anticlimax to win that way, but it's super smart at the same time to use the hill effectively as bait and say, you guys come in and take it because we're happy to let this timer go through. Those first 2 hills were so crucial for them to capture, to be able to set themselves up for that 2-0 lead, Luke. And ultimately, the timer came up against the Chiefs and they just had nothing to do. They couldn't do anything to stop it.
Yeah, it really does feel like almost every single time that we see these King of the Hills, the time does become a factor unless there is some real dominance that comes out from one of these 2 teams. So, as you said, those 2 early caps for Divine Mind felt like that was all they needed to be able to hold on to that map, and getting it done in 2-1 fashion is always good. And now being able to secure themselves another grand final, the grand final back-to-back here for Pro Series is always a good shout. And even if we do get a rematch of these 2 teams in the grand final, Justin, the Chiefs, they're going to have to bracket reset to see if they can get themselves a Pro Series win. And I think right now, maybe the tables have turned between Divine Mind and the Chiefs. Maybe we're really starting to look towards Divine Mind as being the new top dogs. Yes, they got challenged today by a few teams, but right now they seem to be the consistent kings.
You know what? I'm just going to straight up say I don't think the Chiefs' head was in the game. It didn't seem that they were playing to their potential. They're playing a bit disconnected, you know, one man pushing, that kind of thing, giving up deaths when they shouldn't be, and Divine Mind were just taking full advantage of that. And I don't know if it was frustrations or what was going on, but you know, every time they got something going, they just seemed to trip on their own feet. And you know, maybe they can go down the elimination bracket and have a think about the way they're playing, and they can bring things back in the grand finals. And that's the thing. It's good. These 2 teams, what separates them is whoever's playing the best on the day. And if you're the one defeating yourself, then it's a little bit of a problem. Might be wrong, but I feel like the Chiefs, they've just got to rub some dirt into their wounds and just move on to the next series and focus on winning these next few games, because Divine Minds is too strong for them not to be playing at their best.